Hey, hey. Yeah. Shout to day 43, yo, that's the OG. HEX, crypto big payday, you gon' see. Yo, it's November 19, that's the day they predict. Every time I spit, I bring the craziest shit. Shout to day 43, yo, that's the OG. HEX, crypto big payday, you gon' see. Yo, it's November 19, that's the day they predict. Every time I spit, I bring the craziest shit.
Man, thank goodness.
To justify what the hell we're doing here, man.
He's phony, she's fake. That's the type of people I hate.
Yo, y'all know the lyrics. Come on, sing with me. Shimmy, y'all, shimmy, yam, shimmy, yeah. Give me the mic so I can take it away. Off on the natural Charles Bon Voyage. Yeah, from the home of the dog.
Man, it's unwrecked. Thank goodness.
Welcome to the HEX Late Show. What's going on?
Not too much.
Not too much. Let's kick off the show with a just what the doctor ordered. So, tangent. Big welcome to everyone in the chat. It's been a week since we were live, and I would have to say a fair bit of shit's happened in the last week. Wouldn't you say? I've got a few things lined up on Twitter from the tweets, and but
more haters.
Haters? Are there haters?
You know, in that intro video, you know, the crybaby guy, it makes me lol every time. We've had some more crybabies recently.
Oh, really?
People crying. I'll tell you about it. Oh no, they weren't literally crying, but close enough. Actually, worse than crying.
Worse than
crying. I would rather see a grown man cry than this shit that these guys pulled.
Grown man cry is hard to stomach. I'm not saying
this was worse. This is way worse.
Well, now I'm curious. What went down? What happened?
Did you see those two? So Ivan on Tech had a couple of guys on his channel, like other crypto influencers, and then he just asked them point blank about HEX and PulseChain. Yeah, and one of them just completely bitched it and was like, I just want to disappear and not answer this. I just want to disappear and answer this question, man. I don't want to answer this. And the other guy was like,
why? What's the position? Just, you think
he just know? I think he just knows that if you say something negative about HEX, you get wrecked. You get your life destroyed. But
were these guys Bitcoiners? Were they like Bitcoin?
No, just shitcoin shills. I don't know why he chose those guys to have on his channel. Actually, they're not very. One of them was making all right statements. Yeah, one of them was because I was listening to it, not watching it visually, so I don't know who was saying what, but there were parts of it that I was listening to that sounded logical, mainly about macro and stuff like that.
Well, dude, PulseChain's coming out soon, and if
2 weeks,
you're-
2 weeks, exactly 2 weeks.
2 weeks, exactly 2 weeks, exactly 2 weeks. And if you guys, if you're watching or listening, and this is the first time you've tuned into the show, or first time you're tuning into anything to do with like Pulse or Hex or whatever, PulseChain is a new chain that's going to be, I guess, deployed or in operation, as Tangent said, in a couple of weeks. And it's going to be like a full system state fork of Ethereum. And it's also going to have all the ERC20 tokens on it as well. So if you have ERC20 tokens at the time of the snapshot fork, I like to call it spork, then that means you're going to have these tokens on PulseChain. And who knows if they're worth money or not. Like, I was actually listening to some people talk about PulseChain the other day, and they were saying, and I tend to agree with them, that there's going to be a shitload of airdrops for the sacrifice set of Pulse and Pulse X's. So you're going to get like, if you're a Pulse X sacrificer, you're going to get like your Pulse, you're going to get your Pulse X. If you've got ERC20s like Hex or anything else, like there's heaps of ERC20s out there. Can you name a couple, Tangent? I'm not very well versed, but what's a few ERC20s like?
I try to avoid talking about projects that are Teller was one that we noticed was in Richard's Bridge.
Yep.
There's obviously the big name ones like Link and Shiba and shit like that.
If you've got like any of the like Hedron, Maxi, Desi,
there's all
of those ones, like you will get a copy of them on the other side as well. So
for some weird reason, I thought you meant specifically like outside of our ecosystem.
No, all it's sort of like, I just want to like lay out how much free stuff is coming out on PulseChain. Like, I mean, I guess the sacrifice,
all of it,
technically not free, but maybe could be considered.
Yeah, it's free.
It's free. It's an airdrop to sacrifice set, basically.
It's free because when you sacrifice that money, a sacrifice is like not a payment.
So I think that.
So then
that is the first of many airdrops to the sacrifice set. Would you agree with that? It's like the first of many airdrops. I think there's going to be a lot of airdrops to that set of people who sacrificed. If
I give you something and then later you gift something to me, then we did not trade. I gave you a gift and then you gave me a gift later, completely unrelated. Like, well, you know, so that's what's going on here. It's not it's definitely free. It's definitely for free.
Yep. And so there's all of that free stuff. And then there's going to be all the ERC20 copies, which are all free as well. And I have a sneaking suspicion that I don't know if all of them are going to have, heaps of value. But I feel like some of them are going to have heaps of value. Like all of the ones in the Hex ecosystem, I feel like they're going to have value because Hexicans bring value to that shit. They're going to value it.
The market will decide.
The market will decide. But I feel like Hexicans are the participants in the Hex ecosystem market, and they will decide. And I don't know, this is not financial advice, but I think that they will decide that this new playground, aka PulseChain, is going to be a place where they get to play really, really cheap fees to do all the same shit as you can do on Ethereum, but like basically free to transact.
One of the haters actually made a point that was very pro PulseChain without him actually realizing it. And one of those moments where you're just you want to scream at your screen, being like, dumbass, you're talking about PulseChain, you fucking dumbass. He was basically saying, if you look at the on-chain metrics of these different chains, you'll see that many of them, they increase when they're new, and then the usage dies off as people show low loyalty to a chain. And obviously each chain is subtly different, but typically when a chain is new, it gets a lot of increase. Obviously it's increasing from zero, right? So you're going to get some kind of increase in usage. And then depending on the chain and whether people find shit that they want to do there, or whether there's something that attracts people to stay, attract is probably the wrong word, and it's some kind of incentive for people to stick around, the usage typically drops off. And so you can be damn sure that with something like PulseChain, you're going to have the usage, I believe, will be more sustainable because of the way that this community is so keen and so dedicated. And so, you know what I mean? So it's not the baseline and the majority of people that come to PulseChain, they're not going anywhere. Whereas with all these other chains, people had low loyalty and were just leaving. Ethereum, it made me think a lot about Ethereum, where my like and dislike for Ethereum has fluctuated over time, but it's usually more dislike than like. And I have effectively been forced to continue to use it, even through periods where I really am hating on the chain. And, you know, the most recent stuff with all this censorship shit and
because it's the only game in town. Basically,
it's pretty much the only one that like everyone kind of agrees on, because it's got first mover advantage, which is another reason why BTC has been so difficult to dethrone. When you first mover advantage in a payments network is incredibly strong. It's way stronger than what people realize. And so Ethereum, obviously it's the chain to beat. It had first mover advantage, and and even people that hate it, like me, were still using it. So we almost want that for PulseChain, where it's like, which we kind of do get in a way with this whole airdrop thing, right? This ERC20 airdrop. It forced people's, even if you hate it, you have to come over and use it to get your free money, to get your free airdrop. So we kind of have that built in at the start, but then obviously in the long term, I'm hoping that people will be forced to use it because it'll just be the most active chain with the best shit. It'll be like the most secure, and like it's going to be better than Ethereum. I believe that it'll be technically,
I think it's
like
I think it's going to be
better. And it'll have more, and so more in quantity, more tech, like so. But in the terms of the devs, I think there'll be more devs, and they will be more technically capable, and they will be more dedicated and enthusiastic than any other chain. So
cheaper and faster. It's cheaper and faster. But much
really
cheaper, not just a little bit cheaper, a lot cheaper. A lot cheaper.
Yeah. But I mean, a lot of that will come from if the usage really ramps up, then that cheapness could go away quick.
I don't think so, dude.
Have you seen how much activity there has been on the testnet? It's the most used testnet by far. The most used testnet ever in the history of all of crypto.
When you say the cheapness will go away, I mean, I love the idea of the cheapness going away. The idea of the cheapness going away, it bodes well for anyone who's going to be playing in that ecosystem.
Like,
right?
I'm not saying immediately.
Really well. However,
I'm not saying immediately, but I'm saying probably faster than people think, because of the amount. If the amount of activity, I mean, it has to be at least as much as the testnet, right? Everyone who's doing stuff on the testnet, they're going to do at least that much shit on the mainnet. And then you've got some people that probably can't even be bothered with testnet that will definitely be acting on mainnet. And
Depends.
so
Man.
I think the
don't know.
activity could be. I think the activity could be crazy.
I might not do anything. I might not do anything. Dude.
Oh, so you might be in a very rare category of people who used the testnet and won't use mainnet.
It's not that I won't use it. I just
why
won't. No, it's not that I won't. No, hang on. Maybe I haven't explained myself properly. I don't like. A lot of people have like game plans of what they're going to do, their strategy. I'm going to do this. I'm going to swap into that. I'm going to do this. I don't think I'll be doing any of that. Just me personally, just because I've got nothing. There's nothing for me. But there are.
You're going to use the chain at least as much as you currently use ETH. Yeah?
I will need to end stakes. Absolutely, yeah. I will need to end HEX stakes.
So you're not gonna mess around with anything like LPs, pools, staking. Like,
it's not my deal, dude. It's not my deal. Never been my deal.
You can't CBF.
I can't be, dude. I cannot be fucked. I've never been. I cannot be fucked. I can't. It's not for me. I'll let other people do it.
Dude, you're playing. You're technological. You're like tech savvy. Like you're like me. Like
no, hang on. It's not that I could. Like I can't work it out. Like no.
Dude, if you start seeing people print money, if you start seeing people print the fuck, like if I message you and I'm like, bro, I'm like printing X amount of dollars a day off this fucking shit.
Dude? How much are you printing? Like, tell me.
Like,
give me a number.
I don't know.
How much
I don't know yet. I don't know.
But just give me. I want to know what you think. How much does it need to motivate me? I want dollars. How many dollars do I need to make a day to motivate me to do some clicking around and fucking click monkey shit, dude? I don't like the click monkey shit. I made it fucking clear a long time ago. I don't like click monkey shit. I don't like
putting money in an LP is not click monkey shit because it'll be V2, so it's from 0 to infinity, so you won't ever have to move it once it's in. So
this
LPs
is true. However, there is
pretty low maintenance,
permanent lost.
Those one-sided staking. Those one-sided staking pools for PulseX will be just like it's no different to HEX, right? It'll be one transaction to put it in, one to take it out.
Dean DK said 10K a day. Bitch, I don't get out of bed for 30K for less than 30K a day.
There are models and sports personalities and shit that say shit like that, and they mean it. They're like, I'm not getting out of bed for less than X numbers of tens of thousands of dollars. But
you think I don't mean it? I mean it.
Wouldn't you just be like, even if the only incentive was just so that you've experienced it for yourself, so that when people are talking about it in the community on a Twitter Spaces or something, that you know what the fuck they're talking about. Like, if you just don't participate,
I just don't participate. No, I don't participate in it.
Okay.
Because I can't.
Is this like a tax thing? You're worried that each of these things that you do are going to have like bring additional bookwork or something, or it's just your time?
No, it's that. There's that. That's one. That's one of the many things. But I'm not trying to talk people out of it. By all means, people do it.
I'm the opposite, bro. I'm the opposite.
I know.
I'm going to be involving myself in literally everything.
And I've been involving myself in everything on testnet.
If you can dream it, I've already done it. Like that's going to be my motto on PulseChain. If you can even imagine it, I've already fucking done it. I'm already an expert.
So did you get all your Sepolia ETH? I did that shit. What a pain it was to like mine for. I had to mine it for
I don't mind. I prefer the mining over doxing. I prefer mining over doxing. Mining, all the mining is there to do is one, it obviously makes them a little bit of money, because when you allocate your compute, they're obviously using it to mine real ETH, not fake ETH, and they give you the fake ETH, right? And so, or actually, I guess ETH is proof of stake now, but they'd be using your compute to mine something that actually has value. So it means that they get money for running the faucet, which is great. And it also stops people from just creating a fucking botnet and just draining the faucet, and then no one else can get their hands on any test shit. So I think it's a reasonable solution. I mean, it's kind of the way that that proof of work was born, was to eliminate spam email. The idea that it was going to be that proof of work was to prove that you're not just spamming. Because
dude, I was bitching and moaning about it in our chat. I was just like, this fucking Sepalia mining shit. Just, do you know why I was bitching and moaning? Because I wanted something instant. I could just go click and just get it in my wallet. But then it's like you have to wait 60 minutes. And I'm like, fuck, in 60 minutes I have to go do shit with the kids. It's like, I didn't want to like wait 60 minutes. Like, you motherfucker, you're taking the time that I need now to do this shit.
I guess if the timing's inconvenient, then that would suck. But I think
I did it.
Broadly,
and then I went and swapped that. Like, I went and minted some free T test die as well. I minted like,
I didn't bother doing that.
I know, because then I minted like heaps of test die, and then I bridged it across back over to the PulseChain version 3 testnet, and I just bought lots of shit. Just bought shit, staked shit, and liquidity provided shit. Like, just did everything. Just did lots of stuff just to play with it.
But why? If you're not going to do it on the main net, then why even bother on the testnet?
Because I care about testing it. I care.
Okay. You wanted to see if you could find bugs, or like, as in maybe see. Yeah. Fair enough.
That's the. I mean, not that I was like hardcore testing it in every. Like, it's not like I was going through everything in different browsers and different wallets and seeing if everything like works properly from, different operating systems and all that sort of stuff. But everything worked really, really smoothly.
It's good.
The bridge was really good as well.
The bridge was sick.
The
bridge was good.
Oh, dude, did you see this? The Dalai Lama?
Did he really say that?
No, the tongue sucking incident with the Dalai Lama. He's like told a kid to suck his tongue.
That's weird.
It's like, what the fuck?
Are you sure it wasn't a deep fake or something?
Maybe. Fuck, man.
I mean, I just find it hard to believe that someone would spend their entire life being like philosophical and like spiritual, and then do some weird shit like that.
That could be some like deep fake China shit to discredit.
Yeah. That sounds like propaganda to me. I'm gonna have to hear his side of the story, So the HEX price is actually having a little micro crash at the moment, but aside from that, the price action has actually been really good. I've got the chart behind me, but
people are saying it's real. People are saying it was real. But how do we know really it was real? Were you there? Were you the kid getting his tongue sucked? You don't know. We don't know. We really don't know. There's a picture of it.
I asked.
He apologized. Bro, he apologized. But that could be fake as well, though. This is where we're at. We're at like everything could be fake. The video, the photo, the apology, everything could just be all fake, and we're just eating it up like it's real because we don't fucking know. We're just sitting here in front of a camera.
I've got the more hardcore AI, and I had a discussion with it about the loss of trust that everyone should now have in the mainstream media and governments around the world. And it gave me these websites for these fact checking, like fact checkers that fact check the fact checkers. So these are like organizations that go through and they look at fact checking articles and see whether they're actually basing their shit on data or whether they're just making their shit up and saying like that something's fake with no backing evidence. And I was like, thank God that this exists. And then I went through and checked these, I went through and checked the Australian ones because there was like over 100 of them. So I wasn't going to check them all. I checked the Australian ones and I was extremely disappointed that as I went through, I could not find a single, thing that they had like fact checked where their resulting decision went against mainstream narratives. And I was desperately looking for that because I was like, there has to be at least one. Like mainstream has got so much shit wrong lately. There has to be one fucking article in here. One, just give me one. Give me some hope. And there wasn't a single fucking one. So even the fact-checking organizations that claim to be checking the fact checkers are fucking full of shit as well. So that was incredibly disappointing. I deleted my tweet about it because I was like, I'm not advertising.
Who
these
pays
pricks.
the fact checkers?
So these were like some of them were universities. Like there was like RMIT Fact Lab and Well, for a university, you've got slave labor.
Funding from anyone. You can get
you can get funding from governments and donations from ex-students. But you also
get
have
donations
students
from anyone, man.
You also have students there that you can use as slave labor. You can use students as free labor. Like I know this sounds harsh, but it's true. You tell them, oh, we're going to do this project where and you pay them in marks, like the score they get for the course is the payment. So you go, go and do some fact checking or whatever, and you don't have to pay them with dollars. So I thought that was interesting. What else? There are other ones that they were already fact checking organizations, but they effectively they have to fill out this form that shows transparently where they get their funding from, and agree that they're going to sign up to be like politically unbiased and and not show other types of biases, and that they're going to actually support everything that they say with data. And then I go through and look, and they're just being almost as retarded as everyone else. It's just a shit show. So, and like you said, it's going to get worse now because you can just the thing is, I've found that AI has been reasonable. They've actually put a decent effort into making the AI have low bias. The new one.
But you're convinced that it's gonna be the end of us?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some very smart people who have been the people who have been sounding the alarm on AI, and they actually agree with what I originally said and then thought I got wrong. You know how I was saying, as soon as this thing connects to the internet, we're fucked. And then it turned out it was already connected to the internet. In fact, they've been building the thing on internet computers, like internet connected computers. Sorry. And this guy was like, this dude, it was a Lex Friedman podcast. And this expert was saying, this is fucking insane. Like, because you only get one shot to align the AI with our human ethics and principles and values. If you get that shit wrong, then it's the end of humanity. And you only get one shot to do it, because the death of the entire race, you can't then go, oh, let's try again, because we're all dead. So one, you only get one shot. And then think about how many times through history has the first time that an engineer has designed something that it has worked and been like the best shit ever. I can only think of one. It's Bitcoin. Everything else, airplanes, rocket ships, bridges, buildings, fucking everything else, even simple shit like cups and plates and shit, needed iterations to be good. So unless they Bitcoin that shit and get perfection straight off the bat, we're fucked. We're all dead.
Speaking of Bitcoin pumping through 30K.
Dude, it went nuts, and it's still above 30K.
That seems very bullish to me, man.
I did want to talk to you about
30K that. And hanging above 30K is bullish in my mind.
Consolidating at the highs is always bullish. So this is bullish. Being above 30K is obviously bullish.
Just to have that three, three at the front is bullish, man.
Bro, as soon as I saw that the amount of attacks that have been coming out from governments and all of this crazy shit, all of the stomping on fucking... Can you imagine if they hadn't stomped on the banks that were providing like institutional fiat gateways in and out of crypto? Dude, we'd be at like 50K. We might even be at new all-time high if they hadn't done all that shit. So the strength that it has shown in the context of everything that's going on, all the stuff that people keep crying about macro, like, oh, we're on the verge of World War III and the economy's fucked and all the, the US dollar's about to fucking, the US economy is about to fail. All of that FUD, that general FUD, and Bitcoin price has just given zero fucks. And you could tell even before it pumped because it wasn't going down. And sideways or up in mad bad news is bullish. I was flexing on so within 24 hours before this massive pump where we broke out of that consolidation range between sort of 27 and 28 or whatever it was. Yeah. We were in that range for days, right? And literally less than 24 hours before this pump where we just pumped to all the way to 30, I actually tweeted out, does anyone else feel like crypto is about to explode to the upside? Literally within 24 hours before it happened. And this dude called me Hex Kramer. This guy tweeted and replied to that being like, oh no, we're fucked now. The price is fucked because Hex Kramer has spoken. And I'm like, bitch, I get over 90% of my shit correct. Like, what the fuck are you
Hex Kramer?
Where have you been looking at? You know what I think this little dumbass has been doing? I think this retard has been looking at the ones where I've been joking, like those last chance to buy under 5 cents tweets where I'm fucking writing memes. And if you look carefully enough, it actually says that it's a fucking meme. And he's probably thinking, oh, this guy just repetitively got it wrong about 5 cents or something like that. Because I can't actually think of many times where I get shit wrong. But the other one that I've been flexing on was I did 2 tweets where I predicted 30K. And one of them was I actually said Richard's going to have to change his shit to bears need to, bears will be doing 30K and pray or something like that. I changed 11K and pray to 30K and pray. And yeah, now we're at 30K. How about that? And then someone was like, oh,
I hope we still keep going up, dude. I hope it just gets stronger and stronger and we go up.
Bro, that's the most likely outcome of this.
Yeah.
That is
I hope so.
By far. Yeah, dude. Do you remember?
I hope that is the way we go. And it's I mean, nothing's 100% though. Nothing's 100%.
At the start of the year, when we started getting bullish and all the on-chain metrics for Bitcoin were bullish as shit, and we're predicting that all the bottom signals, all the bottom indicators had basically fired off except for 1 out of 15. So it was 14 out of 15 bottom signal indicators were firing for Bitcoin. I was like, I'm bullish now. And people might remember this from Twitter Spaces. I was like, I'm bullish and I'm going to remain bullish until I see evidence, until someone can present me with evidence and good reason to be bearish. And I'm not counting macro because fuck macro. Cryptos doesn't need to be macro's bitch. In fact, it should be the opposite. So I was like, fuck macro. If you can bring me a compelling argument other than macro, and no one's been able to do it from then until now. And that was basically the bottom. We've been pumping ever since. And my rule on that continues. I'm not going to flip bearish now. There's even more reasons to be bullish.
Yeah, I agree. More reasons to be bullish.
Yeah, sorry, that wasn't meant to sound aimed at you. No, I'm just bullish, man. I'm just so bullish.
You know my position. I want it to go up. I want it to go up. I just think it's also possible that, we have another, race at some stage, but who knows? I hope it keeps going up. I don't know, dude. I don't know. I don't know the future. You don't know the future.
Do you remember? I don't know the future, but I'm pretty confident that we're going to continue going up because do you remember when Ivan on Tech laid the Wyckoff accumulation pattern over the Bitcoin chart and it was basically this entire shit that we've gone through, this entire bottoming pattern effectively looks almost like textbook Wyckoff. in terms of all the phases, it was like insane. He was calling it the ghost of Wyckoff. Absolutely insane. If now we've done phase D or whatever, or phase E, and now it's like, now we need to go up like a lot.
Oh, bro.
Like a lot.
Thinking, hang on. Just before, when the guy was calling you Kramer, this is what I thought as well. I was thinking Kramer from Seinfeld. That's why I was just like,
Jim
why
Kramer.
the fuck are you Kramer from Seinfeld?
The dude that gets everything wrong. Kramer gets 100% of shit wrong.
It's like the opposite of...
Kramer, like the money markets, whatever, Mad Money guy, gets 100% of shit wrong. I get like 90% of my shit correct. At least.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is good.
So
this is
did you
good.
see this? Can I bring something up? Did you see where is it? This one here.
I wish HEX was going up though. Like HEX looks like it's going down a little bit.
Did you see
guess
this?
Actually, it still looks good on the daily.
A few
what's
months ago,
this?
Coinbase backed a legal challenge to sanctions imposed by the US government against Tornado Cash. Today, the plaintiffs filed a motion for summary judgment, asking court to reopen Tornado Cash for all. Their arguments are simple but powerful.
Interesting, very interesting.
Yes. So,
Coinbase fighting on behalf
legal
of
challenge. A Coinbase
about Tornado Cash.
About Tornado Cash.
That's actually really good.
Yeah, it's good. It's good that there's some people in this. And look, we can say whatever we like. That's obviously spearheaded by Brian Armstrong, because that's his company. So you gotta give respect where respect is deserved. He deserves respect for backing that legal challenge. There's
Bro, can you imagine when Richard Hart runs out of shit to do and he just gets like the most elite legal team in the fucking world to just go on crusades for like human rights and like crypto freedom of fucking financial privacy and shit. Like,
yeah, this is a this is a good that Crypto Class makes. Just use Hurry Cash on PulseChain instead, and that's the freedom that crypto gives us. Like, there's always some other option. If not, someone's building it, or they're going to build it, they're going to deploy it, and then there's another option. But what we also want to fight back, so that they can't just like choke things out. We just want like to have good software and then be able to use it without the fear of them like trying to shut it down every 2 weeks. And that's what it feels like. That's what it feels like when it comes to some of the privacy stuff. But yeah, absolutely. So I think Hurry Cash is going to be it's a PulseChain. I'm not going to say it's a version of Tornado Cash, but essentially I believe it does the same sort of thing.
You know what, man? I think governments are scared, and they should be.
What do you think they're scared of, man?
No, it's just simply that their entire mechanism of control relies on financial transactions requiring a third-party intermediary. It does. It really does. And so that being taken away means their entire game plan gets fucked. Like that was the entire plan. Well, if they can't control money, they can't control us. And so that's a really good comment, dude. And it brings me to like Christine Lagarde, who's the head of the European Central Bank, was tricked into an interview with someone who said they were Zelensky. And there's just a couple of minutes of video that I think is worth us watching. I did show. How did you fall for that?
I don't know.
her PA
obviously not the
fired for
sharpest knife in the
sure.
drawer, but there you
Her
go.
PA's got to get fired, right? Like, as in,
I'm also a good user of electronic money. So my question, you're introducing the electronic euro, as I know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how can switching to
Can I just say that this guy sounds like
no
Borat?
way, no way.
Yeah.
Wait, could this be a deep fake?
No, this is legit. Actually, I wasn't
How
there,
could she
but
be this
I believe it.
dumb?
I believe this is legit. But if you listen to her responses, you'll be like, yeah, that's like she's giving legit responses. Just listen to what she has to say, and then we can judge it.
an electronic currency help?
Well, two things. Number one, it will be decided in October. So we are preparing the ground. We want to be ready. We want to be trained, but it will not be decided until October 23.
Mhm.
The reason I'm personally convinced that we have to move ahead is a situation like the one we are in now. We are dependent on the supply of gas by a very unfriendly country. I don't want Europe to be dependent on an unfriendly country's currency. For instance, I don't know, the Chinese currency, the Russian currency, the whatever. Or dependent on a friendly currency, but which is activated by a private corporate entity like, Facebook or like Google or anybody like that.
I'm user of Bitcoin too, so I had bought it when it started, and I hope that it also will work through the special system. And I know there are many protests in Europe against the electronic euro. What is the reason?
It's the beauty of Europe. It has different positions. If you ask in Northern Europe, for instance, in the Netherlands, they're quite happy to see the euro coming. If you ask a young German man, he'll say, yeah, fine. As I said, I don't want Meta, Google, or Amazon to suddenly come up with a currency that would take over the sovereignty of Europe. I don't want a foreign currency to become the currency of trading within Europe. So we have to be ready.
No, the problem is they don't want.
I'm just going to jump in here.
That's
I think she
wild.
forgot that the euro came in fucking 20 years ago, and the euro has taken away the sovereignty of every country in Europe to like determine their own monetary policy on a country by country basis. I think she's forgetting that was like just 20 years ago, and now she's talking about bringing in an electronic euro. And just listen to what she has to say at the end.
How the fuck does she still?
Sorry.
How does she still think she's talking to Zelensky after he said he bought Bitcoin right at the start? Clearly, that would be a sign. It'd be like, wait, you know what I mean? Like, as in, what would be the odds that he would have bought Bitcoin at the start of Bitcoin?
And yes, to the person in the chat who's saying the EU, not Europe. Correct, the EU. Yes.
They don't want to.
Yeah, but you know what? Now we have in Europe this threshold above 1,000 euros. You cannot pay cash. If you do, you are on the grey market.
Oh, I
you
saw
take
this.
your risk. You get caught, you are fined, or you go in jail. But
Straight to jail.
The digital euro is going to have a limited amount of control. There will be control. You're right. You're completely right. We are considering whether for very small amounts, anything that is around 300, 400 euros, we could have a mechanism where there is zero control. But that could be dangerous. The terrorist attacks on France back 10 years ago were entirely financed by those very small anonymous credit cards that you can recharge in total anonymity.
Yeah, so shut up. So shut the fuck up. Like, as in, if someone can fund it if someone can fund it with like micro shit, then stop putting these like putting a cap saying, oh, you can't spend over $1,000 or you can't travel without over 10 or whatever. It's not stopping anyone's doing their shit. People just find a way around it. It's just, you're just inconveniencing everyday people, because the people who really want to do some crime shit, they will find a way.
Exactly.
They will find a way.
Exactly.
So,
how many
and
criminals that you know
willing,
actually follow the law? How many criminals actually follow the law?
Well, one, they're willing to break the law, but the point I'm making here was like an additional one, that it's like their drive to get this shit done is higher than. So for us, we're like, this is fucking inconvenient. Like, but if you've got a mission statement where you're like, I really, really, really want to get this done, you don't care about inconveniences, because you're doing it for, like, you're doing it with purpose.
She's not even pleased. She would not be pleased with individuals having any sort of transactional, like, that's not overseen by someone. Like, not even 200, 300 euro. No, that's dangerous as well for terrorists, because then, you know, the terrorists are gonna do everything. So if you've got 200 or 300 euro, you want to do a transaction, there needs to be oversight, just in case, so they can stop your transaction, just in case, because why else would they need oversight unless they wanted to be able to stop your transaction? So that's their thought process. Like, they've laid their cards on the table. This is the thought process of the powers that be. They want to take away any right that you have to privacy of transaction. You know, if you go down to the shop and you want to pay for something in cash, they want to move away from that. They don't want you to be able to pay in cash. They don't want cash. They don't like it. Even though they grew up in that system. Well, they grew up in that system, and it was okay for them. It was okay for them. But, you know, clearly, you know, our generation and the generations that come, we, you know, we won't be, according to them, we don't need to be afforded the same freedoms. Anyway, what else did I see? I saw this as well. Did you hear about this? Crypto exchange.
I actually did see the clip from that Lagarde video where she said, if you buy something with cash for over $1,000, then you get fined or go to jail. Ridiculous.
Yeah. It's dumb. It's so dumb.
Straight to jail.
So you're not allowed to have value. It's so, dude, it's so fucking dumb. That just stops people from using, like, government currencies. People just do other shit. Give me $1,000 worth of fuel. You know, give me so things can just be traded. As in
you're saying it incentivizes barter.
Well, it can still be denominated like, okay, I want $1,000 worth of this, right? So that, like, might be, you know, how many liters of it might be 1,000 liters or 500 liters of diesel. So, okay, well, just give me 500 liters of diesel. Come and give you 500, and I guess it's for larger amounts that would make more sense, right? But it's just so silly. It's so silly because they just want to have a microscope up everyone's anus. That's what they want.
Too right.
So yeah, did you see this? Crypto exchange Binance has Australian financial services license cancelled by ASIC.
I did hear about that. Yeah, on shit. Where did I hear about it? I mean, I assume maybe Ivan's streams, but I did hear about this.
Oh yeah, Klaz like tagged us in this.
Oh, maybe that was it.
That's why I saved it. Yeah.
Dude, hectic, hey?
Dude, they're coming for him. This is a pronged, like, attack on crypto happening at the moment, which is so bullish. God, how bullish is that?
Super bullish.
Super bullish.
Bro, it's the quote. We're at the then they fight you stage of the Gandhi quote or whatever.
I never thought
then they fight you, dude. It's so we're so
at
close
that
to
point.
winning.
We are 100%.
Dude, we're 100% at that shit. Although someone made an interesting point. I think it might have been one of those plebs that was on Ivan's stream that, or it might have been some other show I was watching, but basically saying this idea of choke point 2.0, it could just be that crypto has progressed far enough now in adoption that it is getting the attention of regulators and governments from around the world, and they're having to start doing these things that they were destined to do anyway, but it seems like this coordinated attack, but it's just because before they didn't really know about crypto, they weren't really taking it seriously. So now it looks like a coordinated attack, but it's really, theoretically, you could think this is the natural progression that you would expect, that eventually it's going to get to a point where regulators have to like try and do shit. Although I guess it's these really extreme attacks that are outside of the scope of what you would think are reasonable. Like the shutting down of those banks, where even the bank, it's a bank, it's not even a crypto thing, it's a bank, and they're like, yo, we got treated unfairly because of our relationship to crypto. So that wasn't really regulating crypto. That was over the line of what you would be able to reason about.
We were listening to a clip from Elizabeth Warren, and she was last week, and she was talking about stable coins and how, you know, they need to be a bank account with dollars in them and stuff, and they need to like tighten up on all that stuff. And it's I'm just like, this lady, like, obviously does not know what's coming in the way of other types of stable coins.
Absolutely.
Because you don't need to have the money in a bank. You do not need to have the money. You can have the collateral on chain, and then obviously you need to rely on an oracle to give you $1 to whatever collateral it is, price feed. But as long as you've got that, then you can have like there's other methods of having, and look, and I'm talking specifically about things like liquid loans, which will, as far as I understand it, is going to deploy on PulseChain. And then there's no need to have a bank account. You don't need a bank account with that, with dollars in it.
You know that comment that I just made. I've decided that no, there is an effort to do more than what is reasonable. I just thought it was an interesting point that guy made, that not all of what we're seeing, like a lot of it can be attributed to what that guy said. And there's only like a smaller subset of things that are like that are completely unreasonable. But because of their existence, then we would say there is a choke point 2.0. Hey, Jexa, how's it going?
Hey, how you going, guys?
Yeah,
Good.
Fucking banks. I hate them. I was down there trying to set up an account for my daughter today. God, it's a lot of fucking around.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
I was driving my daughter down there, and we had a chat about banks don't have any money in them, because we bank with ANZ. So I said, oh, the bank, they don't actually have any money. And she goes, well, what's the point of a bank if it doesn't have any money? So then we got into the whole, what's a Ponzi? Yeah, so she's well educated about the system she's grown up in.
I was having a discussion with someone about how their thing was like, banks don't make any money because they have to, like, this was over Easter, and it was like, they were like, if a bank lends you $100,000, right, at 5% or whatever it was, I don't know what we worked out. It was like $100,000 over 30 years. Over 30 years, they're only getting like another $93,000. And he's like, it takes them all that time to get all their money back and the profit. And I'm like, yeah, but they never had the money. The money just
It's
got
free money.
they never actually had that money. It just got created to give to you, and they never actually had it. So they only just got like the margin on the cash rate. yeah. It's they get the interest, the difference between the cash rate and the interest rate they give you. That's what they're getting.
Yeah.
Right. That's what they're getting. And the rest of it is like.
So I'm working with a few guys on Upwork at the moment, and I'm paying them over crypto rails. And literally within 5 minutes, we agree, okay, just send me your address and I'll send you the funds. And bang, within 10 minutes, they've got the funds in their account. To try and do that at a bank is impossible. Like, you've got to jump through so many hoops. If I wanted to send funds overseas, it would be an absolute nightmare. There's just so much.
Did you do it with crypto? Sorry, I missed that. Did you do it with crypto? Yep.
Yeah. I pay those guys via crypto. It's just so much easier. It's just.
I listened to Adam Stokes say that he does the same sort of thing. He does it with Litecoin, just because Litecoin is really quick and it's relatively stable.
Yeah, no. To be honest, it depends on the person. A lot of one of the guys I'm working with is in India, and he doesn't. Obviously, the fees on ETH is a bit of an issue. So we use Polygon for his payments and things like that. So it's just so easy to move money between chains and things like that now, between layers, and to find
bridges and stuff.
Yeah, but everyone thinks there's going to be one solution is going to rule them all, but each section has a use case. So for some guys, that transactional thing where they just want some rails to be able to send money cheaply on, something like Polygon, it's fine. That's perfect for that. If you want high-end NFTs and shit like that, then maybe that's not the chain. Maybe you want to have the premium on ETH and things like that. So everyone will go where they need to for whatever service they're going to require. So I'm all for a multi-chain world.
I've got another tweet here from a lady called Tulsi Gabbard, who used to be. I can't remember if she was a Democrat. I think she was a Democrat, and then she left again the Democrats. So I think she's an independent now. I believe she's an independent. The US federal government has just begun implementing a centralized digital currency project, CBDC, to bring about a cashless society where every transaction we make is tracked, monitored, and controlled, thus undermining our autonomy and freedom. To protect our freedom, we must all stand together in rejecting this effort to institute a digital cashless society. Hear, hear.
So this is someone that's not known to be anything really tied in with crypto or anything like. She's purely coming from her political realm, but there's a lot of people that obviously see the.
Well, she's been on Joe Rogan's a couple of times, so
Yeah.
she's like I think. She's obviously someone who's just not like towing the party line, and she left the Democrats, which goes to show you that like she has principles, I guess, right? She actually believes in something, which is pretty important. Like, give me someone who believes in something, and you know, I don't like it when people just toe the line, mindlessly toe the line.
Yeah, it's funny. We've seen a few walkouts where I think there was one in the UK recently. This was more related to a guy that got up and spoke about vaccines and things like that. And literally the whole parliament just got up and walked out. And I think there was another one in Australia just recently where the whole Senate, basically one guy got up to give his, I don't know what they call it, he had time to speak in the House. And literally everyone just got up and walked out, and there was a few people that obviously didn't twig to what was going on, and someone walked across from the other side of the aisle and said, whispered in their ear, and they got up and left as well. So you've got groups of people that just they either don't want to hear the truth, or they know the truth and they don't want to be implicated in any way. But literally this guy got up and just spat out, just spewed facts on, I think this was to do with vaccines and stuff as well, but basically spewed facts of that you couldn't dispute, and head in the sand, literally got up and walked out, so they didn't have any, I don't know whether it was just to avoid any fallout, or whether that they could be accused of something later on, or what, but it was astonishing to watch that kind of shit happen where there's real evidence being put forward in Parliament, and people are just turning a blind eye to it. It's insane. And so thanks, Archie. Yeah, there was one over in UK, and there was something similar that happened in Australia as well, where guys get up and fight for the right thing, and just blindsided. Well, not blindsided, but I guess blackballed was the word. It's crazy shit going on.
Yeah, that's odd. Like, because you'd think they'd have some kind of parliamentary privilege that means they can sit there and listen to shit and still pretend that their shit doesn't stink.
Yeah, I think it must. It's got to be something like if you weren't there to acknowledge something, you've got a plausible deniability, as in I didn't know what was going on. First I've heard of it, sort of thing.
Oh yeah, true.
So I think it's a bit of that going on. Crazy shit that we're seeing around the world.
It's because they fucked up so bad. They fucked up so bad.
Yeah.
And they don't. No one wants to. And not everyone. It's like diffusion of responsibility.
Yeah.
It's like when my first year uni back in the day, I remember we did this experiment where we were meant to walk down like an outdoor area when there were lots of people or when there were like very few people, and drop some papers or drop your books or something. And we'd have like people inside observing. And then when you dropped your books and there was not many people around, like one or two people, the one or two people would always come and help you. But when there was loads of people, everyone just went, fuck that guy, and just kept walking, like stepping over your shit, like while you're trying to like scramble and pick shit up.
I think that's called the like there's a term for it. It's like it's the same they say on country roads. If you break down on a country road because there's so few passerbys, if the next person to come along, they'll stop and help you. Whereas if you break down on like a freeway, no one stops because they just assume someone else will do it.
Yeah.
Like it's like not my responsibility.
Tragedy of the commons.
I think it's called some kind of like bystander paradox or some shit. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I think it all refers to similar phenomena, where it's like
it's just group behavior, isn't it? And as soon as one person breaks the group, and like it could be you sitting at a concert and no one's dancing, and as soon as one person gets up and dances, then everyone goes, oh, well, I'll get up and dance too.
I was close. It's the bystander effect.
Yeah. Yep.
The bystander effect.
Oh wait, no, this is something different again.
Hey guys, it's Sammy.
I could hear that.
Yep. I'm just trying to get this shit sorted.
No. This is different. This is something different.
You about to play something or keep going?
No, keep going. Sorry, I'm just trying to sort something out. Oh, one thing I want to ask you guys, have you had a chance to play with the Staker app?
Yeah, I was playing with it for a while because I was in the test group, so I was helping them out with a bit of testing.
It looks very, very nice. It looks very, very nice and clean.
Yeah, when you do, so I was fortunate. I was doing a few test transactions on the ETH network, and it was nice and smooth the way you do stakes and you swap across to confirm transactions and things like that. Yeah, I thought it was pretty neat. They've put a lot of work in it. That's 2 years worth of effort that's gone into that. I know that's ruffled a few feathers somewhere in some of the community, but I think you've got to give them their credit. They've put a lot of time and energy into this and haven't asked for a single cent off of anyone to do it.
Does that mean the other one's going to get, what's it called, grandfathered or decommissioned or shit canned?
I assume at some point they'll remove support for it. So if depending on
you can have both on your phone at once, 1 and 2. Is that
there's a way you can do that, but for the most part you would, if you choose to upgrade your app, it will overwrite the the current one.
Oh shit!
Hmm.
I might have already done it accidentally.
A lot of people, I'm getting a few calls from friends where they've just gone, has your stake wrap changed? And they've obviously got auto updates set on their app store. So as soon as you got that set, we'll auto update it. I switch just for future reference for everyone. Switch that shit off. Like you don't want Play Store auto updating all your crap on you.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, especially when it's got financial apps.
It takes 2 seconds. Like you can review all the apps that are able to be updated, and then just hit update all once you've reviewed and made sure that they're all ones that you want updated. So it's like it takes 2 seconds. It's not like you have to do them individually. You just review them in a list.
Yeah, unless it's the feature that you're getting is really, really worth it, or it's some sort of security upgrade. I rarely upgrade apps unless there's something.
Is there a way I can like delete the request to update on a specific app?
Don't know. Not sure.
No, doesn't look like it. All right, I'm going to need to be extremely careful because I want to keep version 1.
Yep. I think there'll be a few people doing that.
Staker app. Originally in this tweet, they've said the premium tier would have if you had one smart wallet. Like premium tier is if you get a smart wallet. A lot of people have got a smart wallet on their Staker app.
Yep.
Some people don't, and if you don't, then I think on this version you'll be able to have one external and one watch list. Oh, hang on, maybe that's changed. I think that actually changed. Yeah, that changed. They've on the premium tier now. I think there's one smart wallet, and then you get 10 external and 10 watch lists, which is a total of 21 addresses on Ethereum, and then that will be another 21 addresses on PulseChain when it launches.
Is that true? That's not what it says there, is it? That's confusing.
No, but but this was the first tweet.
Yeah,
and then I think they. Oh no, I can't go in there. Let me see. There it is. Yeah. Oh yeah. They tweeted later and they said we listened to initial feedback and decided to increase the wallet limits. The free tier is 3 external, 3 watch list, and the premium tier is 1 smart wallet, 10 external and 10 watch list.
Okay.
So
what if you want more than that?
Oh, that's a lot better. So
did you say you're in the beta? Did you say you're in the beta testing, Jexer? Yeah. Well, asking me that question doesn't make much sense. Go ask the go ask the crewmate. But that's pretty good. No, but that's I don't think very many people would have more than that many addresses with stakes on them.
For the guys that are actually using Staker app for staking, I would say not. But for guys that have been using it as
a tracker,
watch, possibly.
Yeah,
more than 20 addresses with the stakes on them,
especially if you're doing HSIs.
Oh yeah, HSIs. That's the thing. But you don't need to use Staker app to track your HSIs. You can track them elsewhere.
Oh, you don't. But I think people would like to keep
have
everything in one place.
Yeah, it's good to have everything in one place.
And these guys that I know how long it takes to develop shit, and it takes a long time and there's a lot of time and energy and effort that's gone into this. So they should.
You have to ask yourself this question.
Yeah,
I think you need to ask yourself, what do they get out of providing support for that?
Yeah.
Like seriously, we're talking. This is a business, right?
Yeah.
And they've provided a lot of free, value. I don't know if you guys remember, but I know you guys remember. They came up with the whole classification of the classes. What do they call them? The Staker League classes. And they are responsible 100%. They made me buy more and stake longer because I wanted a higher score. Like that sounds ridiculous because when it came out, I was just like, fuck that stupid shit. That stupid like grade 3 shit.
Everyone was saying that, but everyone was wanting to climb up the rank.
Dude, I was thinking it. I was looking at. I'm like, fuck this stupid shit. Meanwhile, after like a few weeks, I'm just like, I got to get up that ranking. So they like, I think a lot of credit needs to go to these guys for doing that because it provided value to the ecosystem that you can't. There's no way to gauge it really, apart from my own anecdotal feeling that I acknowledge that prior I didn't care, and then after I did, I cared more.
So you have it when you're listening to people on or reading tweets and things like that, the amount of references to different classes and things like that, it's pervasive throughout the community. So that was very, very sticky. And I think you're right. I think it helped with adoption no end.
And I think if you're if you're onboarding people, I actually think that Staker app is the easiest thing for a we're all like, think about us three, right? We all like have validated or done mining or done some like we get into the weeds, all three of us, right? But think about the person that you know who just wants a fucking app on their phone. I think there's no better option than Staker app under those circumstances. I truly think that. And I don't, you know,
I guess I'm happy to be pretty impartial about it. I think the guys have done an awesome job. Like I said, I've been helping with the testing, so I'm team Staker. I like the guys. I think what's happened is the ecosystem has just ballooned where we've got so many different things going on, and they've got to make choices on what features do they bring in first, what's their main priorities. Very hard to be everything and do everything. It's just the ecosystem is always evolving. So I think they've gone down the right track where they're supporting both chains because obviously they have to. That's been forced upon them. But then they've opened up. Now they're more of a general wallet where you can see all different tokens and things that you've got, and you can send them there. And so they've broadened their support in terms of all the tokens that they're going to need to now track and look after. So
hey Jexer, do you know if is it going to show you your PulseChain and your ETH shit all on one screen, or do you switch between?
No, you got to switch between. Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah, I think
you don't need to be getting confused about that.
Yeah, that'd be pretty hard. Yeah, so just up in the top right hand corner, there's a little button where you can flick between ETH and Pulse. So I think they've done a pretty reasonable job on it. But you can see the button there. So that little button you can see on the top right. There's a little ETH button. So if you just click on that, then that
this one here.
Yeah, the little light blue one. Yeah.
I actually wanted to get an APK of the app and then load it into a virtual machine and give a demo. But I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it anywhere. I had the old one. I had the old Staker app version 1. And I used to show the Jake Lund's stakes in there.
Yep. Yeah, if you want to do that, you can have 2 of these running on one Android phone if you use the secure wallet feature. Secure folder feature, sorry.
Yeah. I don't want to share my...
Yeah, no, I wouldn't either.
I don't want to do I wouldn't do any of that. Seems it's just like more work. It seems like a lot of work. It's you know, I'll go as far as a virtual machine.
Yeah,
like I'll have an Android operating system and do that. I don't mind doing that. Yeah. So the Fed came out with an article saying, let me bring it up. Where is it? There we go. So this was like, can you see that? Yeah.
Yeah.
This was like an article that I saw on it was on Twitter. Someone had posted on Twitter, and it was as if the Fed are like backtracking, on this the Fed now, the whole Fed now thing. Have you heard about that? The Fed now.
Yeah. So I think that they're two different things. One is just like faster rails, essentially. Look, I think the reality is that they're all going to collide and end up being one, but they're obviously trying to put a bit of separation in. I think because there is so much pushback on the CBDCs.
Yeah.
I think people see this as the skinny end of the wedge.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is.
Yeah.
I
think they're chucking everything at it at the moment.
Yep. So I'm all out, guys. That's all the tabs I had. So what do you guys?
You're definitely more prepared than I am because I've just walked in the door and sat down to see what's going on.
You've been doing stuff. You've been busy. You've been busy in dev chat rooms and
it's been
getting stuff done.
Yeah, so there is a lot of people doing stuff in the background, running all the paces through the validating stuff, and it's not going to lie, it's not easy going. You don't just run one of these up in 5 minutes and it's all go. It's quite techy, but there's
although if you have a DApp node, it's a hell of a lot easier to spin up an Ethereum validator, like a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah,
because it's all GUI based.
Yeah, and so when you do a validator, you've got a few things. You've got all the ETH components. So you've got the two different clients that you've got to run. So that's one technical thing you've got to get your head around. And then you've got to secure a server and make sure that's all done well, so you don't lose any of your stake. And so there's multiple layers of these things you've got to do at the operating system level, the client level, the firewall level. So you've got all these layers you've got to build out. And I think DAppNode does a really good job at making all that overhead really simple. So then you can just focus on actually running the clients, just the way they've done their system. I think they take care of a lot of the security side of things, which is good. So yeah, there's some guys, and 43 included, in dev chat trying to get the DAppNode packages up and running. So
I wouldn't put myself in that category of person.
But I think you'll help out with the testing and things, won't you?
Oh yeah. I'll jump in and help out with the testing. I'm actually thinking of. I was thinking I might get another. I might spin up another one. Like I might get another one of these, or maybe not. No, actually not. I'll just. I've got something lying around I can use actually. Yeah, I might just do that.
To test it. Yeah.
These guys are doing it on virtual machines and stuff, but I'm just gonna get like an SSD and just load the OS onto an SSD and just do it like old school.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking of doing, is buying another hard drive and just having a mess around with that. But yeah, no, it's definitely been a learning curve. I mean, I come from an IT networking background, and it's still been a lot for me to get my head around, and I've put a lot of hours. I've put, I reckon, a good solid week into this thing, just monitoring it and troubleshooting it. And even when you think you got it up and running, weird shit's going on. So yeah, it's been a bit of an effort, without a doubt. So hopefully.
Does that mean that even if you just want to run a node, like a non-validating node, it'll be similar difficulty? Yeah. To get a fully synced,
validate, a little bit of work. Yeah. You can run it in 3 different modes. You can do so in the way it syncs up, and there's one called a light mode, and that would probably be a lot better. It only downloads like the last. I can't remember how many blocks it is, so it only downloads the last bit of the chain. So it's not as cumbersome.
But doesn't that just make it faster? Wouldn't the technical difficulty still be the same level?
Yeah, it's not changing a great deal. Yeah, there's probably just a few things you don't have to worry about, like no, you are going to have to expose RPC ports and things. Yeah, it's not going to be simple. Yeah, if you want to run a node, it's going to be a little bit technical.
I was kind of hoping that there was going to just be one that like anyone who was keen to support the network but didn't want to actually do it to earn money could basically almost just run it on their computer and it would just start running a node. But it doesn't look like that's going to be the case.
If they do the DApp node thing, if they get those DApp node packages for PulseChain sorted, you'll be able to do it on the DApp node.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can do. The whole world of Docker. That's a new world for me. So I sort of got out of IT before Docker was a real big thing. So I think virtualization was just coming in, but the Docker containers were sort of pretty new. So I've had to learn all that. But I think you can do something that's called Docker Compose, where you can basically create a script and it would do it all in one package for you. So I think if we can get someone that's got the smarts to do that, which a couple of the guys in the chat have, possibly you'll end up at that point where you can just plug in a few settings and away you go.
I think the possibility
that
of
would be
that
awesome.
happening is like, I think the difficulty level is a lot like that. The hurdles are a lot less because you've got Ethereum clients, execution clients, Ethereum consensus clients for them to go and look at, because this stuff is, it's on GitHub or whatever.
Yeah.
So they've got all that. They've got like Gnosis chain. They've got so many different like chain clients that they can go and look at and say, what did they do? And I think that they could probably, obviously something like that is still going to be very difficult to put together, time consuming but I think it's all there. I think all there's an SDK there. And I think all the components would be there to make it easier than starting from scratch for sure.
Yeah. I think ultimately, the DApp node thing will be what you're talking about, Tangent. If someone wants to run one of those, that would be the easy route, I would think. Is that easy? 43, still pretty technical.
It's still like there's some like it's still a bit technical, but it's way easier than I did the Ethereum before it was proof of stake. I ran a node, and DApp node's easier than that shit because that was all command line stuff. So DApp node was like way easier than that.
Yeah. I think there's enough nerds in the community that will have plenty of validators running and plenty of support on the network. But I think a lot of the guys that are new to the space, it's probably not going to be their cup of tea.
Yeah, I don't need it for me. I'm capable. I just wanted it. The reason I wanted it was so that we could almost say, hey guys, there's no excuse why you're not doing this. It's literally download this shit and double click it on your computer and you're supporting the network. But it doesn't sound like, but I agree with you guys that there'll be heaps of people who will do it, even if it has some technical barriers. It just won't be as many as if it was literally just like you install it on your, because look, something like Bitcoin, Monero, you can do that shit where you just download something, you just double click it, you install it, and it just starts downloading the blockchain. And once it's synced, it's running a node. So I guess
look, I'm sure there'll be
with smart contract platforms, maybe it's just not as easy or something.
With the DApp node, dude, it's way easy. It's not that hard. I'm probably making it sound harder than it is. It's not that hard, dude. There's like tutorials and stuff how to do it. It's not.
And I think there's enough people in the like Alex and DFed, and there's guys out there that are looking to do like the one-click solution sort of things. And especially like DApp node has to gear up to be able to do a lot of different networks. But if you just want to sell something that just does PulseChain, I don't think that's a big ask to have a box you can ship out and it's plug it in sort of style.
Yeah.
Did you guys know that Sammy Chica has some fans out there? Did you know that?
I didn't.
I've got a clip here of one of her biggest fans, who's
Let's go.
she's doing her impression of Sammy. Let me just play it.
Hey guys, it's Sammy Chica here. Everyone join HEX.com. I'm going live on Saturday, so everyone join.
Let me play that again.
Hey guys, it's Sammy Chica here. Everyone join HEX.com. I'm going live on Saturday, so everyone join.
Do we know who that was?
It's clearly a champion. Champion of the person.
She had the hair flick down pat.
Yep. So yeah.
But yeah, other than doing the validating stuff, I've been a little bit distracted. Really, I haven't sort of been paying too much attention to what's been going on. There's just
what's new? Like as in,
there's so much happening. That's the problem.
The bridge is new.
Yep.
Richard's been replying to people quite a lot. Like he's been trolling people on Twitter, and just generally.
William Shatner.
Oh, Richard Hart tweet 23 minutes ago. Yep. I really wish there was some accountability. It's hilarious seeing good things disparaged by people that promoted and profited on the horror of others. Is that a typo? It's hilarious seeing good things. Yes, that's a typo. Influence feeding their followers into the meat grinder of margin trading, rug pulls and scams. How dare they continue? That was my point. I was like, this guy needs to shut the fuck up. Like if you were like bragging about how amazing Sam and FTX is, then you should be under a rock now, cowering and hiding, and like you can still participate in crypto, but no longer in public as an influencer. You shut the fuck up. You shut the fuck up and you start learning from zero again.
Or at least own it publicly.
Own it.
Yeah.
Own it.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. It's
crazy.
crazy.
Richard's been retweeting this guy quite a lot. This PhD guy, Peter St. Onge.
Yeah,
he's been tweeting these short clips.
Do you want to let's listen to this one?
Could be re-accelerating. Hey guys, new inflation.
I've been playing this guy's clips for the last few weeks, actually, because probably because Richard's been retweeting them. But yeah, he's got some good info.
Numbers are coming out tomorrow, and fresh data from the New York Fed says it's not going away. In fact, it could be re-accelerating, going by the fundamental core measure that the Fed worries about. So the beatings will continue. First, the numbers. Every month, the New York Fed asks regular Americans how much they think prices will go up in the next year, and then in the next couple of years. In the latest release, both one-year expectations and three-year expectations popped up. So now the average American thinks inflation will run 4.7% over the next year. To put that in perspective, it's worth noting that last year's peak of 8.9% inflation, remember these are official numbers, unofficial numbers are much higher. Anyway, at that official peak of 8.9, Americans had only expected 4.8%, about the same as now. So inflation came in almost twice what Americans expected. This is possibly because the Fed and Treasury were lying to them that inflation was transitory, which Americans believed because both the Fed and Treasury employ hundreds of PhD economists who Americans don't realize are paid to lie. By the way, the Fed's very open about doing this. They call it forward guidance. So if recent experience is a guide, it could actually come in much higher, again, because they are certainly lying again. It's literally their job. And so, right on cue, it's back to gaslighting. Last time around, the excuses included COVID-19, Vladimir Putin, and of course, global warming. But above all, too many people buying stuff on Amazon. Exercise bikes came in for a special 2-minute hate at a White House press conference. Now, once again, regular Americans are to blame. To blame for the orgy of money printing by Wall Street and its servile Fed, all to make room for the $7 trillion in federal deficits and the bonus trillion spawned from zero interest rate policy that they use to bribe voters into accepting lockdowns. All that freshly printed money stealing their dollars' buying power like pouring water into wine. And so they stole your paycheck, they stole your life savings, but it is your fault, once again, for still trying to buy groceries. Bloomberg takes a stab at the genre today with an article blaming consumers for paying higher prices, demanding they instead start TikTok shame campaigns and organize one-star review campaigns to punish grocery stores. They wax nostalgic about similar pressure campaigns in the 1970s, hoping that Americans once again blame their local grocer for the trillions stolen by Washington and Wall Street. It's worth noting that grocery stores make almost no money. They generally make about 1 to 3 cents on the dollar, while Wall Street collects $275 billion in Federal Reserve printings, plus another $263 billion in profits on the exorbitant privilege of Xeroxing money and lending it out, fractional reserve banking. And so rather than blame the $6 trillion plus in money creation or the $7 trillion in counting in federal deficits, it is your local grocer who will take one for the team to hide the swindle. He's the one who's got to wake up early, work for free, or else the useful idiots will run TikTok and Google review him out of business. Note the pattern. Every time the official experts break it, which is quite often these days, the first reaction isn't to fix it or even figure out what they did wrong. It's to find a scapegoat quick. Pay no attention to the men behind the curtain. With a lapdog media right there with them, glorified coupon circulars whose only remaining source of prestige is government favor. We'll see more gaslighting as long as they keep breaking things, which at the moment looks to be a while. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.
Yeah. No, he's been sending out some good stuff, but there's definitely a strong theme going on, and I think people are waking up. I think the speed with which the general citizens can communicate now, it's very hard for them to keep a lid on this sort of shit when they're doing it. It used to be very, very easy, but I think the communication's just got so efficient now that every day more and more people are waking up to the shit that's going down. So only a matter of time, I think. But do you think that was all this sort of stuff that's going on has been responsible for a little pump we're seeing on BTC and crypto in general? Or that's just general normal market cycle?
Man, it's very hard to know. It's very hard to know. It might be some people seeing what's going on with the dollar, getting spooked, and actually seeing crypto as a safe haven, and saying, "Hey, we might de-risk into crypto."
I reckon some smart money would be looking at that. Like if you're sitting there watching everything play out across the world, and the thing that you maybe hold a lot of in dollars, US dollars, is looking a bit shaky. And by shaky, it only has to go down 10%, and that could be a fucking massive hit for big institutions. They've got to reposition somewhere. I don't know where you reposition. The property market's in the shit in the US, isn't it? I think I've seen something where an office block got sold at a 30%. Blackstone sold an office block they brought in 2014 at a 30% discount or something like that. So, yeah. So,
you guys reckon like we're heading for that sort of thing in Australia with property? We've had it too good for too long in Australia with property.
Yeah, we have a sort of a two-speed economy when it comes to property. WA is very different to the East Coast. We're driven by different things. So you guys can have an absolute shit time, and and we're very prosperous, but vice versa. Like you guys could double overnight and we'll be sitting there with our thumb up our arse or losing 20%. So we run very, very different to you guys. When you guys have got a lot of people leaving the state, that's probably when we've got them coming across. So they head over here for the resources jobs and things like that. So yeah, it's very particular to where you are.
Metropolitan Melbourne has been just on the up and up for so long. There's only been a couple of very brief dips that I can remember in the last like 10 or 15 years. Like very short-lived. Like not like it's just been. Yeah, oh, look, what has been going down is that building companies have been going under.
Yeah.
Building companies have been going under. So yeah. Porter Davis went down.
Yeah, that HEX Amigo, that would probably be pretty on the money, I would reckon. We're definitely in a good cycle at the moment with property, and with my experience now, like seems like a good time to buy because everything's really pumping and you think you're going to be able to sell a property. But if you go into I'm speaking as a developer, if you go into a development property now, this is usually when you do your ass because it takes a good 2 years to develop your property. And then by the time it comes to market, so you're saying around 2026. So when you finally get your property to market, that's when the shit hits the fan and you get left holding the bag. So yeah.
The only time it would be worth building a house under these circumstances is if you're building it to live in it.
Yeah.
Not to sell it. Not to sell it.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're
like
going to be
you're going to do a knockdown rebuild and you're not looking to sell it to make money off it.
Yeah.
To pay back whatever it's factored in that the cost of it is going to go into a loan or you've got the money or whatever.
So if I
don't have opinions. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say that looking at a big macro opportunity, we might, if crypto goes gangbusters and let's say we're in another cycle, another bull run, usually that should take us up to around 2025-ish, you would think. That would, if it goes on history, that would be an ideal time to look at recycling from crypto into property, like lock in gains in crypto, let the property market cool off. And if you've got any interest in property, that's where you might like to put it and set yourself up for that, the next run up over the property.
When do you think that might happen?
I reckon HEX Amigo was on the money. I reckon probably 26 would be when that would be sort of. I think we're probably right at the peak already. I don't like I'm speaking from WA, but we've got really low vacancy rates on rentals. Property is in extreme demand, and usually you've got to let all the builds and everything run through the system, which they've all just been going mental. I reckon by the time all those finish, maybe 12 months to 2 years to finally get all those out of the system, then we'll go back into another cycle where there'll be too much has been built. Resources will cool off again, and we'll just go through our same cycle.
A lot of people coming off fixed interest later on this year.
Yeah, so everyone's getting absolutely hammered on all the interest rates now, and I don't know if that's done yet. We've probably got you maybe have one or two more rate hikes in there, possibly. I think we just had another one recently. I think I've seen a letter from my bank arrive. I think it's usually never a nice letter. I haven't seen a good one recently. So but that'll sort of peak, and then everyone's left with fucking huge debts on properties now. Like if you've got $1 million debt and sitting at 8% or something like that, or 7%. That's a pretty hefty bill.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So if
Guys,
you're paying
I don't
7,
have
8,
I don't have any opinions on things that are non-crypto, but something important I want to discuss is that Shane guy really Richard's brother?
Jury's still out.
Shane Schuler.
We touched on this last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
Were
you on there?
I remember. It must have been before I came. Remember how I got there late?
Yeah.
Because he's still running that gig. He's
definitely doubling down on it. Yeah.
And he's got a Lambo. So do you think Richard bought him a Lambo?
No, he's got a photo of a Lambo.
Oh, like a photo of him standing in front of a Lambo.
I got a photo of me standing in front of a helicopter.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know, dude.
Hey, it could be legit. I don't know.
What do you think?
Richard has never confirmed. Richard has never confirmed or denied, right?
He has said he was an only, or he said it's just me, I think was his words. Someone asked him, does he have any brothers, sisters? He said it's just me. But who knows what's happened in.
So hang on a second. Hang on.
Also,
thanks for the $5 though. Thanks for the $5, Alan. But hang on. You spoke with him live on Worst Damn and See Crypto Show last night. But how is you like? Did you have a lie detector machine? Like, how is you speaking to him make what he's like? Could he not still be lying? I don't get it.
Yes, you can absolutely lie to someone on live stream.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, Richard's saying it's just me. I mean, if you've got a sibling that's dead to you, then that would maybe count as basically saying it's just me, but you know what I mean? But yeah, it would be so Richard has never specifically confirmed or denied. What's going on?
Did you read the other chat from Alan?
No, so I can't see it.
Why isn't that doesn't come up in Restream?
I didn't get the second one. I don't know why. Where's that one?
It's come up.
I did two of the same. I got two of the same. Well, thank you very much for the contributions. We don't get them ourselves. We do this shit for free. But Discourse Syndicate, the channel, they get the money and they do something useful with it, I think.
Yeah, they do.
I don't know. I'm sure it's whatever they do is useful.
Yeah, they used part of all the money to support the MMA fighters. Remember?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. I'm joking around. I know what they do. They also, have done a lot of other stuff. Like, for example, they sort of pulled together the documentary. They got that. The documentary that we're still waiting on. They got.
Oh yeah, what the fuck? I forgot about that.
Yeah, and then there was like a fund, some sort of fund that they had for the SEC or whatever. But
can we please just fucking have one of either the movie or a massive hex pump or PulseChain? One. I just want one.
Out of all of those three, what would you prefer?
Oh, the hex pump, obviously, but like,
really,
I want it to be.
I would have thought you would have went with PulseChain launch.
No, because that's. I need to choose my words carefully here. So the launch is definitely going to happen at some point, but does not guarantee price up of anything. The native asset, the thing, like, so if I was to choose that, there's an unknown there, right? Like that could launch and prices could go down theoretically. Mm-hmm. So if I was choosing out of those three, a massive hex pump would definitely be the one I would pick.
And the other two will probably end up in a massive hex pump. The other two.
Well, I mean, all three are going to happen at some point. I just want, I'd like HEX to shine a bit better. Bitcoin's really stealing the show and has been just dominating.
You
think that HEX has got thinner liquidity. It's got way more ability to shine. It could be outshining Bitcoin. Also for people buying HEX, the market direction has been shown. We're going up, right? So it's the lowest risk time you could possibly be. If you're a whale and you're like, I'm going to buy a shitload of HEX, like this would be a decent time in my opinion. And so it surprises me that it hasn't just absolutely just ripped higher on everything.
It ripped for three months, man. It ripped from the first, from January, basically, the 1st of January all the way through to the end of March.
Let's take a look. Let's measure some.
When did we get to 12 cents? It was close to the end of March, wasn't it?
So Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin's only down 56% from its all-time high.
Yep.
And it's up from the bottom by
2x. It's like a 2x.
Yeah, it's like
from 15,000 to 30,000.
Pretty close.
HEX did a 7.5x. HEX has done a 7.5x
from the bottom
in 3 months, from the bottom up to the local high. Did 7.5?
No. It never went to a cent. It never went to a cent, bro. It was like 1.7 cents or 1.8 cents.
7.5x. That's 12.5.
Oh, no. I'm saying to what the price it is now, not the best it's ever done. As in.
No. I'm just saying the best it did recently was only a couple of weeks ago. Wasn't that long ago?
Yeah. But it's pulled back quite a bit from there.
Yeah, but don't you think
I know that maybe it seems like I'm
HEX. No, but don't you think it's reasonable to say
I didn't choose these parameters in my mind to try and favor Bitcoin. In my mind, it's like I'm going to the price from the bottom to the price that it is now, not the best the coin has done in the period. You know what I mean?
But
I only give a shit about my performance now. I don't care about some point in the past that I didn't sell.
But HEX is still smashing Bitcoin in that time.
But
still
not by
completely
obliterated.
No, completely shitting on Bitcoin's head.
Don't just go to a BTC HEX chart
and utterly.
Not really.
And utterly shitting all over Bitcoin.
not really.
It has shat on Bitcoin's head.
So 8 cents divided by 1.8. It's done, dude. It's done like a 4x. It's done a 4x rather than a 2.
Why don't you just have a look at the Bitcoin HEX chart?
I just expect more from it, man. As in that's pretty not that. When you look at if you look at it seriously, if you look at it seriously,
You've been spoiled by crypto, haven't you?
Possibly, but it is a higher risk asset. So I expect its performance to be higher by more.
I actually don't think it's a higher risk asset. I think it's a lower risk asset than BTC.
No, it's higher risk because its liquidity is so thin. It could get fucked. As in you could fuck it in either direction. Its liquidity is a lot thinner. So there is a higher risk. There is a higher risk of savage dumps that could occur if one participant decides to dump, which we've seen.
If you bought the top, the risk was higher.
I'm not trying to FUD. I'm just stating facts. It's got very
where
thin
we are
liquidity,
now,
so
the risk is not higher.
No, it is higher because the liquidity is way thinner.
Dude, it would be riskier if we hadn't done what we've done and we still had the community that we had.
I'm not looking at HEX's risk. I'm not looking at HEX's risk compared to its past risk. I'm just looking at it compared to Bitcoin.
Yeah, me too. I think HEX is less risky than Bitcoin. I think it's less risky.
What? No.
Yes.
No.
I think HEX is less risky than Bitcoin.
No, dude, it's absolutely not. It's got a better risk reward profile I think it's got a much better risk reward profile because the upside potential is so much higher, but it is definitely not lower risk, dude. It's better. You're maybe factoring in the risk versus reward in your mind without realizing it.
No, what I'm considering is that in 10 years' time, I'm very, very positive, like a high degree of positivity or a very high degree of belief based on the community and based on the like the structure of how HEX is designed, that people commit to long-term contracts.
Yeah,
I believe because of that, like Bitcoin is an inflation bug away from getting fucked, right?
Yeah, but so when you talk about, I actually
you're asking me. Hang on, you guys are asking me to justify why I think HEX is why I think HEX is better. Why I think HEX is better. I'm telling you why I think HEX is better, because we have a community that's committed for 10 to 15 years.
You're conflating better as opposed to riskier.
Yeah,
and that's less risky because you've got people committed for 10 to 15 years. That's less, in my mind, because the community is what makes the crypto. That is less risky than a community that is resting on their laurels, has rested on their laurels for a number of years now, and moving forward.
Since you chose the longer time frame, you've got Lindy effect. Bitcoin's been around like 3 times longer, or at least it's probably more. Richard actually got this wrong in the debate that I had with him. He tried to shit on me and say that I was using Lindy effect wrong. He was using it wrong. He said that his example of why he thought that the Lindy effect doesn't apply. He said, "I'm older than you. Does that mean I'm going to like be around longer than you?" Lindy effect does not apply to perishable items like humans and fruit and food and shit. So like with Bitcoin, the Lindy effect does apply, and it's like 3 times. It's been around 3 times longer. So if you were like, I know we're all HEX fans, and so we're looking at things like, oh, we've got stakers and a strong community and shit. But you need to be real about this, man. Like you need to be realistic. You can't just fanboy your way past facts. Like the Lindy effect,
laid out
Lindy
some
effect.
Facts there, man. I don't see any Bitcoiners time locking their shit.
If you were picking a 10-year time frame, if you were picking a 10-year time frame, are you seriously
show me the BTC people who time lock their shit for 10 years? Apart from that guy who debated,
need to though. It doesn't need time locking to exist in 10 years.
Time locking.
It doesn't need to be time locked to be exist. You want it to exist. You just want it to exist and have a high price.
What I'm saying is I'm saying that time locking is almost like a proxy for your commitment to a system or an ecosystem.
Yeah,
because you believe in that system. You're like, hey, I'm going to be here for 10, 15 years. I'm going to be here.
But the commitment of the participants.
Tomorrow there could be an inflation bug and everyone tries to sell their fucking Bitcoin tomorrow.
Let me get a word in. Commitment of the participants does not stop the system from failing, right? Like as in, just because everyone's really committed, it can still fail. And ETH and PulseChain are both proof of stake. If the governments went like did their psycho, everything that's fucking proof of stake is a fucking security and just shut all that shit down, both hexes are built on proof of stake fucking shut down blockchains. Plus the extra tech stack risk of having that you're a token on top of a chain rather than just being your own chain. Like I love HEX. I think it's amazing. And I think if you were to say risk versus reward, I would agree with you.
You're saying that that's a higher risk.
Yes. HEX is a higher risk asset than Bitcoin, man. It just is. Like
I've heard it described as safer because of that.
I mean, look, I'll give it points for redundancy. I'll give it points for redundancy once PulseChain has launched. That will make me feel a lot more comfortable. Points for redundancy.
But there's also other chains that it's been deployed on other chains. It's also on other chains as well that the main threats and you're fighting.
But the main threats against it would be leveled at both chains. Like as in that redundancy doesn't protect you from all threat vectors. Only like the main ones don't. Look, I agree with you if you say risk versus reward, HEX better than Bitcoin. But if you're just looking purely just at risk solo, Bitcoin is less risky, man.
It depends on when. So 43 is looking into the future and And I totally agree. When you're looking in the future, but you got to weigh up risk and reward as well. And we're all
you do have to pick a time frame, I guess.
Yeah,
like,
if you said today, what is more risky, then I think Tangent's correct.
But what's the risk when you say what's more risky? But what risk are you talking about? Like, what is
that's something? That's what you've got to define.
A technological risk. Like, what is the risk you're talking about?
Well, I think we started off on price performance. I think we started off on price performance.
So you think HEX is riskier at this point in the cycle than BTC?
I think if we had gone down instead of up, when like
over right now
period.
No, hang on.
I'm answering the question. If we had gone down instead of up, HEX would have continued to get fucked harder than Bitcoin. That's just how it goes in bear markets. I thought HEX was going to be different, but then in that bear market, it proved that wasn't the case. So we have been going up. We've been all going up. The whole crypto market's been going up. But if Bitcoin had continued to go down, then alts would have continued to go down harder. And so we're just fortunate that everything turned around and the crypto market actually did bottom at the turn of the year. So but that risk still remains. That right now, if we woke up tomorrow and Bitcoin was like on a massive dump for whatever reason,
Bitcoin hit 15K. It was 15K 5 years before that. That whole thing of you can hold fucking Bitcoin for like 3 or 4 years and you'll never ever fucking be worse off. That shit's fucking down the toilet, dude. That fucking narrative that you guys had for that narrative that you guys had is fucking gone. It is out the window. Fucking see you later.
Because it matters that
5 years now. You can hold BTC for 5 years and still be fucking underwater. Get the fuck out of here,
dude.
It
matters. It matters that people buy the whole way along the curve.
So it's smashing Bitcoin in every respect. It's got more people who believe in it for a longer period of time.
Bitcoin went down the least in the last bear market by a lot. And like Richard even admitted that when you look at the difference between like a 60% drop and like a 70% drop, it sounds similar, but it's actually like massive, right? You're kind of like halving again. And that math is wrong for those numbers. But the point is that it matters because people buy the whole way along the curve. So how far you are down from all-time high does matter. Like your bear market performance does matter. And that weighs in. So when you look at like Sharpe ratios and shit like that,
dude, what about the up before
you do have
that
to factor
down?
in.
Does that matter? The up before the down, or do you just want to take 2 points?
Not if you're looking at
this one went down, but let's ignore the fucking 10,000x that went up.
If you're calculating risk, like if you're looking at the risk of holding a financial instrument,
looking at the risk of holding something for 5 years, which is meant to be some fucking revolutionary changing shit, and for 5 years you were fucking down.
I think the part that you're missing here is that people can buy at any time and people can need to. So people can buy at any time, which means sometimes people buy tops, and people may need to sell at any time, which means sometimes they become forced sellers at prices that are low. So if you've got one asset that drops like 97% and one that only drops 50, the one that only drops 50 is lower risk. So if you look at metrics that financial analysts use in legacy, you would see that like on a lot of different metrics and also just general logic, like and just logically looking at it, Bitcoin is a lower risk asset, man. It just is. It's got higher liquidity. It fucking goes down less. Like it just
there's a lower risk of you making any money.
I know you don't want to admit it because you love HEX, but it's just true.
Okay, so now that everyone's flushed that out, and I think they both had very valid points. I won't stand on one side or the other. Now, proof is in the pudding. Where do you hold most of your portfolio?
Me, I'm all in on HEX, like effectively, like if you, in the practical sense. In a practical sense, I'm literally all in on HEX.
So I think we're.
I don't even need to say shit. You guys know.
Yeah,
you all fucking know.
So it's. I think you can agree that one's. They've got different risk profiles, but that doesn't change the fact. Like either we're fucking degenerate gamblers, or we see we see the benefit of holding HEX.
Dude, the legacy system is all over Bitcoin. How is that? How does that make your shit fucking less risky? That's more risky in my mind.
Higher liquidity.
That's fucking more risky in my mind. Those fuckers have got their dirty fucking tentacles all over it now.
They can't fuck with it though. They can't fuck with it. Like, as in, just because you can hold all the coins. You can't, like, well, not all of them, but you can hold the majority of the coins, and it doesn't give you any more power over the system than someone who holds a tenth of one. But just to clarify what I said before, when I said I'm all in on HEX, obviously I still do have some Bitcoin, and the reason why I'm more heavily in HEX than usual is because for the fork. So my distribution probably will go back to like,
and I just want to say, and I say this every now and then, I don't have any Bitcoin. I run a Bitcoin fucking node because I believe in supporting that network. So I will talk shit about Bitcoin, but just in a local, like, want to just fucking beat tangent in an argument, talk shit sense.
Subconsciously,
not because I actually want Bitcoin to fail.
I
don't want Bitcoin to fail. I want
subconsciously,
Bitcoin not,
you know that if
Bitcoin
Bitcoin got fucked, like, it would do years.
I don't want
damage,
Bitcoin
like,
to fail.
minimum.
I want all of this shit to do well. I want everything to do well, man. Everything.
Even XRP. I'm rooting for XRP as well.
I'm not.
Yeah, I'm rooting for XRP. I want them
to fucking stick.
I want them
to
to
the SEC.
I want them to kick the SEC right in the fucking dick. That's what I want them to do.
And fucking those dudes have I've done this in a tweet. Those dudes have taken one for the team. They actually sat out a whole cycle. So they deserve a little bit of
because of all that nonsense. Yeah.
Like, they literally just missed a whole cycle, and the hardcore believers just sat through all of that.
Far out.
There was a massive opportunity cost for those guys. So
yeah, that would suck.
But on the other side of it, if they come out of it and it works out well, you know, that might be good for them. That might work out well for them. I won't know because I won't be looking at that chart.
No.
Yeah. But it's nice to have a little bit of an argument every now and then.
I think it's good to keep a bit of realism about the whole thing, and not just get too bloody moon boy about the thing you're holding. You've got to objectively look at things.
I just want to prove to everyone that I'm more of a HEX maxi than tangent. I just want everyone to understand and know that shit.
I'm just being honest about it. Like, as in, like, I still think, like, if someone said which is better, which one do you want to hold more, and like which one do you think is going to do better in price? Like, my answer is HEX for like all the question that matters, but I genuinely believe that Bitcoin is lower risk. So I don't feel the need to just give HEX the award for everything, because I know that it already wins in enough categories to make it the one that you want to hold. Like, Richard's own words is like, when something is really fucking good, you don't need to lie about it. And I'm not saying that you're lying about it. I believe that you genuinely believe what you're saying, but I don't feel the need to just like to lie about one parameter that I don't believe influences the overall picture that HEX is the fucking winning choice.
Yeah. Look, I'm not lying.
I
know you're saying I don't believe I'm lying, but I don't think I'm even when I'm. I don't think it's.
You don't think you're delusional?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I know. Otherwise, you wouldn't have that. You wouldn't be voicing that opinion and looking silly on live stream. No, I'm just kidding.
One for 43 or 2 for tangent in the chat. Go for it right now.
Oh, dude, that's not a fair comp, because we get watched by the HEX community, so they're clearly going to vote for you. Like, this was like the debate that I did against Richard. I was just stoked that people were messaging me in private and public as well, saying that they thought that I did really well, which I thought I thought that I thought I was going to be standing alone or just getting kicked out of Hexaco or something like that. So,
dude, Hexicans were primed, ready to kick your ass out, and then I think you just handled it really, really well. That debate was a really, really good debate.
Yeah, people were messaging me, warning me. They were like, "Dude, don't risk it, bro." Like they were like, "Why are you fucking doing this, man? You're gonna like it's like hex suicide. It's like social suicide."
I think Briz has hit the nail on the head there. I reckon Bitcoin is for rich people, institutions, or for people that got in early and have got big bags. Like there's so many options for transferring money around these days and transferring value that Bitcoin doesn't need to be that thing. It doesn't take the cake for that anymore. I'd argue, other than sort of just financial trades and things, there's probably more volume moved over ETH in terms of moving bloody dollar value,
but that's transfer of value. What about storage of value? Like, you know, Ivan made a good point on one of his streams very recently. It's like within his last three streams, but I don't remember which one. He said, if you airdropped me anywhere on this earth, I will be, and if I've got like Bitcoin, I will be able to find someone who will take that and give me water and food and shit. But he's like, I can't say that about any other cryptocurrency, not even Ethereum, right? Like that's the one that's like, it's literally everywhere. It's like every
you can just swap it you can just swap it. So it's fucking.
I don't think that's. I think his point is more like that. He's just
if you've
using
got the internet to use
highlight.
Bitcoin, you can just swap that shit for whatever you want. You know.
Yeah, I think he's just highlighting the kind of like the brand awareness and the adoption.
Yeah. I agree with that. Like, there's no doubt that Bitcoin is the most recognizable. There's no doubt.
I mean, I don't want to sound like
everyone
I'm
knows about
being a BTC maxi early, because I'm not doing that until HEX is at all-time high, and like all-time high against Bitcoin. Against Bitcoin. What 90-year-old people?
Yeah, 90-year-olds know what, like, have heard of what Bitcoin. They may not have an understanding of how it works or whatever, but
whenever my in-laws come over, when my father-in-law wants to ask me how things are going, he goes, "How's that Bitcoin thing you're doing going?"
Yeah, I have an auntie that does the same thing. But she's an Italian, like an older Italian. She, how is the Bitcoin? You know, that actually sounded Japanese, but.
Do you know there was a podcaster, I forget who it was, who said some people have been going around saying, "Oh, we need cryptocurrency to be able to be used by like grandparents and shit," and he was like, "Nah, we don't need that shit, because that gen is eventually going to die. You just have to make sure that the young kids that are digital natives and they're already doing it." Like, it might have actually been Ivan again. I've been watching too many of his pods, but he was basically saying like the older gen, you don't actually have to teach them how to use crypto, because that gen's on its way out, which I think is a bit harsh. But it's
nah.
He's saying the younger gens will inherit that wealth, and then that wealth will come to crypto.
My experience is completely opposite, where I've got a lot of clients that we've worked with that are in their 60s, 70s. They're the dudes that have got excess capital that they need to put places, and they want to grow and for their grandkids and whatever. And they understand. I reckon there's a gap where those guys understand it and their kids don't. So yeah, so they've got kids probably that would be in their 50s or whatever, and they don't get it, but the parents do. So yeah, I wouldn't write that class off. They're probably one of the biggest users of fucking Facebook too.
I'm not saying they can't understand it. He was just saying that we don't need to stress about like it's not a demographic that needs to be like convinced, because time, like basically enough time goes past, they don't get a say. Like, you know, they don't get an opinion anymore. You know, I mean, even if it's like politicians, whatever it is, right? Like,
we've got geriatrics running the US.
Yeah, but they can't live forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Eventually, some level of like digital positivity or whatever will eventually come through with time.
Yep. Yeah, I think there'll be it's going to be funny, actually. There's a lot of guys that have gone into crypto, and eventually their kids are going to be forced to understand it, because they're going to get assets handed to them, and unless they learn how that shit works, there's going to be many dollars locked up.
Do you think any of these politicians have got like a chat GPT going just for any time they need to make a decision? They just like, I don't know what they're going to do. And they just type that shit in and let the AI decide.
Not with the way that the decisions are coming out. Either that or they got the most retarded AI I've ever seen. The shit they're coming out with.
I just asked my AI about that thing that we were just debating, and it's typing out its answer right now.
What was the what were the parameters? What were the questions?
I just said what is lower risk out of HEX and BTC?
Did you tell it to act like a BTC maxi?
Did you say from the point of view of someone who runs a HEX show?
It's given a pretty brief response. It's kind of, we've covered most of the stuff that it's saying.
I would love it was like, bitch,
but HEX has been
BTC's been down for 5 years.
You should have said did you put in which is riskier, HEX or Bitcoin?
Yeah, so it says based on historical performance and market acceptance, Bitcoin is generally considered to have a lower risk profile compared to HEX. However, it is crucial to note that past performance does not guarantee future results, and the risks associated with any cryptocurrency investment can be substantial. So that's something that neither of us mentioned, is that the risk of both is very high. They're both very high risk. They're both high risk assets. And
compared to
always conduct thorough research.
Compared to what? Compared to having money in the bank, holding property, compared to what?
I think just because you can make a mistake where you lose it all, I think that has to be factored in.
That's a good point.
Good
point.
True. Like the inheritance side of it can be really difficult. I think is worth considering as like a risk. It's like that's the risk of it not fulfilling your desired result, which is i.e. getting locked up rather than it getting to your kids. But you are right. There are significant risks with other. What would be something that's safe?
There's not too many things at the moment, mate.
I mean, maybe cash or gold that you hold in your own possession or something.
If we want to talk about like
it's annoying but low risk.
Food is like, if you want to talk about safe.
Farmland.
Like I think all investments are nonsense compared to crypto. So
farmland,
then you would say, well, but like you have to, when you're saying risk, you have to isolate, like you can't just be like, oh, this is so much better as an asset. So then I'm just going to assume it's low risk or ignore the risks. You still need to be realistic about what those risks are. And
speaking of risks, we're risking going over time and going into wake up HEX. We've got 5 minutes, so let's do our closing final words. Tangent.
Come back to me because I didn't plan anything for closing words today.
Jexa.
I don't know. Nerd it up, guys. Get out there and learn how to be a validator if that's your thing. Support the network. If you've got any other ways you can support PulseChain, roll your sleeves up and get stuck in. It's going to be a big community effort to get this thing to be a success. So whatever you can contribute, do it.
I want to see HEX outperform. I know this was the trigger that started our whole debate, but I want to see HEX outperform the other cryptocurrencies significantly. Like not just like it's been good, like it's been a good start to the year, but I want to see that shit outperform by the gap that it actually is better than all that other shit, right? Like as in it's if its performance was matching its awesomeness, we'd already be like above 20 cents. So yeah, let's just somehow get that shit to happen.
Yep. Guys, I suggest everyone goes out and starts telling people about PulseChain again. Let them know that there's going to be this this fork. You can, if you have ERC 20s, tell your friends who've got stuff on exchanges to get it off exchanges so they can get a copy on PulseChain.
Good point.
Tell everyone, just say, hey guys, this thing, usually layer ones do pretty well. So, you know, it's an opportunity for you guys to get into crypto. We're sort of in still like, you know, pretty much close to the bottom of the bear market. We're not, you know, I wouldn't say we're close to all-time highs yet. So they can still get in, and there's plenty of upside, I reckon. I'd like to thank everyone in the chat for coming along. Thank you very much for your participation. We appreciate it. And also thanks to Jexa and Tangent for coming on and, you know, arguing with me on a weekly basis. It's much appreciated.
Thanks, chat. Good to see you guys.
Peace, guys. Peace.
See you.
HEX.com.